Australians are paying 7 to 10% more for flights, purely because of your government's Qatar Airways decision. Will you reverse it?
Well, there are more than 50 airways fly into Australia. Qatar can fly into Canberra. They used to fly into, where I was this morning, they used to fly into there. They haven't brought back their flights yet. I note the coalition members and some of their rhetorical position on this. Qatar applied for increased flights in 2018. Nothing happened until 2022 when they were granted 7 extra flights. There are applications from countries all the time for increases in their air services agreements. We're coming back from a pandemic where we have increased announcement of flights. Qatar could have extra people by changing the aircraft that fly in, as Emirates announced just last week when they also announced additional flights. I mean, some of these figures are just ones that, if you look at how many airlines operate into Australia, how many flights there are, then people can draw their own conclusions here.
Prime Minister. Catastrophic fire day yesterday, El Nino declared. Have you been meeting with fire chiefs about the clear threat that this summer and even spring holds?
We had the head of the Emergency Management Australia address our entire cabinet just weeks ago, and Murray Watt is convening a meeting on Tuesday in Canberra as well of experts. It's something as well that we've raised at the National Cabinet level, given the need for coordination across different levels of government. We are continuing to examine what more can be done, but my government is not complacent about this. We know we've just had the hottest July that has occurred. We know that the period, here we are in September, was pretty warm in Canberra this morning, let alone Newey. And that says something about the fact that the science is in on climate change, and we are facing potentially a hot, dry summer. So we are being vigilant, and that's why Murray Watt has already convened meetings with the emergency management ministers. That's why my entire cabinet have been briefed on these issues, and that's why we'll be having a further meeting on Tuesday. Last one here.
The Newcastle voice rallies that was held across the weekend, one many across the country. What's your message to those people?
To continue to put that positive message out there. These are Australians marching for the fair go. And I've been coming to Newcastle for my whole life. Newcastle's always believed in the fair go. They look after each other. That's what this is about. Recognising that Indigenous Australians have these gaps in life expectancy in so many areas. It's not like there hasn't been enough funding go into the area. It just hasn't reached the people who need it. During the pandemic, at one stage, people might recall, there was enormous concern about a catastrophic outcome in Indigenous communities. When that changed was when power got given to local communities and people listened to what was happening on the ground about the rollout of vaccines and about what was needed to keep people safe during the pandemic, rather than a one-size-fits-all from Canberra. And that's just one example. Justice reinvestment programs in Burke is another. Health programs in Cape York. Education programs in Arnhem Land that are seeing young Indigenous Australians going to school. You get better outcomes when you talk with people and when you listen. One of the reasons why I've been a consistent visitor to this wonderful part of Australia is to hear firsthand about what the issues are in Newcastle, in the Hunter Valley. And you know, if you just sit in Canberra and decide that, you won't get as good an outcome. And I think that The fact that 200,000 people plus marched right around Australia, in regional cities like Newcastle, in capital cities right around the country, but in smaller regional towns as well, in places like Merimbula and Queanbeyan and Orange and other parts of regional New South Wales. Says a lot about how passionate people feel. And this has been around for a long period of time. And I say this, if not now, when? And that's acknowledged by the fact that Peter Dutton and the Liberal Party are saying they support a voice, but legislating one. Well, if it's such a bad idea, why are you legislating for one? Why is that your policy? And then they're saying if it goes down and Peter Dutton's elected Prime Minister, we'll give you another referendum on a different question that Peter Dutton has acknowledged no one has actually asked for. So we need to get this done. Australians have an opportunity to get this done. There is only things to be gained. There's no loss here. It won't impact on most people's lives directly, but it just may make lives better for Indigenous Australians, and they deserve nothing less. Thanks very much.